The calendar turns toward November, and that means Big Ten football coming down the stretch. The Hawkeyes stand at 6-2, 4 to go. Welcome to Black and Gold Breakdown. Rob Brooks along with Matt Vandenberg, former Hawkeye wide receiver. Gavin McGrath will be back with us next week. This isn't the type of game he likes to miss. He wanted to dissect the Wisconsin game, and it was a tough day in Madison. There's no question about it. It's happened before. Wisconsin playing its best football. And a tough team to move the football against. And we talked about it last week, Matt, where Hawks needed to get some rhythm offensively early and just try to find their way to put some points on the board against a really good defense, top 5 in the country, and just couldn't find the rhythm. Too many sacks, too many zero plays, and set up third and long, and nobody wants to be in that situation.
Right. I think they had 10 tackles for loss, 6 sacks, and any time that they're changing things up. I mean, Gavin talked about it, the 3-4, and how that kind of works through everything. But a lot of times they were only bringing 4, but it was just enough of this guy's coming versus this guy's coming to confuse our young line. And so I'm hoping that as we continue to move forward, that they can really gel as a unit, because as KF would say, it all starts up front. And I think Gavin talked about it too. It's all about what happens in the trenches, and then everything kind of is a microcosm off of that.
Yeah, and I think that's the key theme for Coach Ferentz and the Hawkeyes this week is to try to get that offensive line as good as it can be. Kind of sounds like, obviously, the center's set, the guards are set, and the tackles are set. Those are the names we're going to see the rest of the year. And now it's just about improving. And against a team like Northwestern coming up this weekend, so another challenge. And you got to play with confidence. And it's a big week of practice. I think this team can put the last 2 weeks behind it and move forward. I think the leadership is there, and that's going to be big this week.
Anytime you have a guy like Tyler Thunderbaum, I think that everybody can kind of look to him, and it's not necessarily it's a rah-rah guy, but it's a lead-by-example guy, and the way he goes about his business. And you're hoping that everybody can kind of adapt that as they continue to move forward. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some chips by the tight ends or the running backs just to kind of help out our tackles in certain passing situations. And like you mentioned earlier, third and long, they can really pin their ears back and go. So hopefully we can continue to, move the ball forward.
Yeah, and I think you look at youth, injuries has really kind of shown itself here after 8 weeks along that offensive line, because it is young. And to miss practice time like so many of them have had to do this year, that poses a problem. Not excuses, but it's part of trying to get this group to grow up.
And the more game reps you see, I mean, practice reps are one thing, but game reps, when there's people yelling and you're in an away crowd and Spencer's trying to check the play and everybody's got to turn around and figure out what's going on, those are the reps you need. That's the reps that on Saturday that matter. And so the more that they can get that, not just get those reps, but get them together. Again, I think offensive line is one of those that you really have to gel, which is why, the Joe Moore Award is so prestigious, is because it's 5 guys working together on a consistent basis.
And all that being said, the second quarter just disastrous from a turnover perspective, and giving Wisconsin, anybody, short fields like that, it's going to be detrimental, and it certainly was, and that was really the killer there in the first half.
And a lot of props to our defense. After the first fumble, Spencer fumbles it, and they do a great goal line stand. Unfortunately, we end up giving it back. But anytime your defense has to put out that many fires, it doesn't really lend yourself to be an explosive offense when you're always backed up like that. And the defense has to go out there and, okay, well, they've only got 20 yards. We got to do what we got to do. But so props to our defense for continuing to go out there and do their best to put out fires.
And Wisconsin only generated 270 yards of offense, 27 points on those short fields. So you're right, the defense did very, very well, especially in the secondary when a couple of injuries, Moss not back, and then Terry Roberts couldn't answer the bell on Saturday.
And Jack Kerner was actually our leading tackler, which you don't want to see that from a safety position, but the fact that he's enough to try and help out everything going on up front. We know Wisconsin's going to run the ball. So being able to make those open field tackles like we've talked about on this program. Jamari Harris, early in the game, I think makes a great third down stop, as well as I think they were trying to target him from the slot, and he's able to be in the right place at the right time, make them punt. So we again, I'm not worried about Coach Parker coaching up our DBs. I think he does a great job. He's going to continue to do so. But it's that next man in mentality. Like you said, injuries are going to happen. It's just how's the next guy come in and take advantage of his opportunity?
And it sounds like it's the same theme this week. Probably no Moss, no Terry Roberts. So Harris will be back in there at one corner to continue to get those game reps. And then still, when you go to the third quarter, Matt, and it's 20-7, and still over 7 minutes left, Iowa gets the ball back. And then 4th and 1 with 3:53 left to go on the Wisconsin 40. Boy, if Iowa gets a first down there, you say, okay, get a touchdown, maybe get within one score. You got a chance here. You've got plenty of football left.
Absolutely. And the fact that it was 20-0 going into half, and then that third quarter kind of felt like we were starting to gain some momentum, starting to move the ball. We converted a great third down earlier on that drive to Charlie Jones on the outside. We had things that we were able to move the ball, and it's just unfortunate that we couldn't keep doing it.
And you look at the defense, forced Wisconsin 3 straight 3-and-outs to start the third quarter, so at least came out and gave that offense an opportunity.
Well, Graham Mertz, I think, threw 9 straight incompletions. So, I mean, they were definitely doing their job on defense.
But Wisconsin wins it, and big picture, Iowa now just try to win this week and stay in the hunt. We'll certainly need some help. We'll take a look at the standings a little bit later on in the Wild West of the Big Ten. We'll take a look at plays of the week from Madison when we come back. Black and Gold Breakdown on MC22 is brought to you by McGrath Family of Dealerships, 5 Seasons Tire, Tom Riley Law Firm, Collins Community Credit Union, Heartland Hearing Center, and by Extreme, powered by Mediacom.
Every second, 127 new devices connect to the internet. You can feel it happening. Our digital world expanding with every breath. We're entering a whole new era of connectivity, and Mediacom will be ready to power it with one of the nation's first 10G platforms. We'll be bringing you more speed, more capacity, more security, and the power to do more than you ever dreamed possible. Today, more than ever, you need fast, reliable internet. At Mediacom, we want you to know you can count on us. Our fiber-powered 100% gigabit technology network was built for the future. We have enormous capacity and power and 99.99% network reliability. So even though these are uncertain times, we're prepared. And you can be certain we'll keep your world connected.
Thank you for virtual family dinners and long-distance birthday wishes. Thank you for sweet streaming melodies and spontaneous dance parties. Thank you for keeping classrooms together and learning alive. Thank you to our incredible network of employees who make all these beautiful connections possible.
To Black and Gold Breakdown, let's take a look at some of Iowa's top plays from Madison. We certainly wish there were more, but Hawks only able to put 7 points on the board. But here again, Charlie Jones doing everything he can in special teams, and Matt just gets Iowa off to a great start. You couldn't ask for anything more other than a touchdown off of this play to set up perfect field position.
And the off returner does their job. Ivory gets out there, pushes out a guy, and like you said, if you want to start a game in Madison, you'd like to start it on the 45-yard line going in.
But then Iowa couldn't convert and had to kick the ball back to Wisconsin. We talked about Jamari Harris. Here's a nice play in run support. He comes up in his first start, first real playing time, and got thrown in there early, not only having to do the job against the run, but Wisconsin threw at him a lot early as well.
And he was also our third leading tackler. So, I mean, he was involved, which is something you can say about a young corner.
And you like this play.
Keegan Johnson showing some toughness. I actually draw this up on X's and O's, but showing some toughness, lowering his shoulder. I just think he's dynamic with the ball in his hands.
Yeah, and being right up close, I can tell you, this was a pretty punishing hit that he laid into the Wisconsin secondary there. Dropped his shoulder, didn't just go down knowing that he got inside the 10-yard line. He was fighting for yardage in there. So a lot of toughness. And then a couple of good pass plays here in the fourth quarter.
Again, Keegan Johnson getting him involved, creating an explosive play. 1st and 10, short pass, let him run after the catch.
And this type of play missed early, a high throw to Reganey, but able to connect here.
Yeah, a little switch release, trying to determine what Wisconsin was doing on defense. We're able to take advantage, go right up the seam, and first and 10 again, taking advantage of throwing the football, and I think that's something we can do more of.
And just at least some positive things that took place in the third and fourth quarter offensively, hopefully to build on this week.
Right. There's a lot of different nuances within the offense. Like we talked about, there's switch releases. They got guys going in motion to get the defense flowing, and then Keegan comes around. I'm sure there's going to be new things that they prepare for in terms of what Northwestern does on defense. But there's also things that we do that there's going to be another step to. You know, they've seen this outside zone a million times. What are we going to do off of that to take advantage of them?
Keegan Johnson, that type of guy, going to be more involved in the offense, you think, here in the last 4 games?
I think he actually led all receivers in snaps in last game. And so if he's not leaving the field, then that's a pretty darn good thing, especially as a freshman. I only expect good things from him moving forward.
Yeah, and I think you look at Spencer Petras, he's got to be getting Johnson more involved. The trust factor has to be there, and I'm sure that's growing as well.
Trust and chemistry are a real thing. You know, some people say, oh, they've got great chemistry, but like that's a real thing. If you're a receiver, trust the quarterback to put it in the right spot, not leave him out to dry, and vice versa. If your quarterback knows, hey, I trust this guy to win, and he's going to catch the ball, that's that mutual trust, and that's when your team can really go forward.
And the Hawks will really need to get that running game going this weekend against a pretty stingy Northwestern defense to get the play-action game going.
As with anything, it's about staying consistent, and you never want to abandon anything. We're Iowa. We're not going to throw the ball 55 times a game. I am a receiver.
Would have been nice once in a while, right?
I'm not going to deny that. A little biased, but just a matter of staying consistent and getting that O-line gelling.
Big one, Iowa and Northwestern coming up this weekend from Evanston. That is a night game, a 6 o'clock kick on the Big Ten Network. We'll talk our players of the week when we come back.
While a lot is changing in our world, at Mediacom, our focus remains the same, making sure you have the fastest, most reliable connection possible. During this critical time, we know your needs are changing. You may be working or learning from home, relying on telemedicine, or finding new ways to keep everyone entertained. If you need more speed, call or go online, and Mediacom will double your speed immediately for as low as $10 more a month for 1 year. Right now, millions of people and billions of devices are connected to the internet. Homes, businesses, hospitals, schools. The security and reliability of these connections are more important than ever. That's why at Mediacom, we've built a network to protect them. A network that sees threats, fixes problems before they occur, and keeps you going with 99.99% network reliability. Every second, 127 new devices connect to the internet. You can feel it happening, our digital world expanding with every breath. We're entering a whole new era of connectivity, and Mediacom will be ready to power it with one of the nation's first 10G platforms. We'll be bringing you more speed, more capacity, more security, and the power to do more than you ever dreamed possible.
Welcome back to Black and Gold Breakdown, presented by McGrath Family of Dealerships. Let's talk some more about Charlie Jones, a bright spot on special teams, especially 108 all-purpose yards. Did it from the line of scrimmage, but mostly kickoff and punt returns. And we know what happened when he went out for a little bit, especially on that punt return. He got poked in the eye, and his depth perception wasn't quite there for a while. But boy, he's as tough as they come. He was going to get back in there.
Well, and you notice when he leaves the field. I mean, that's how you know you're a dynamic player. If people are like, wait, where's Charlie? And he's done this for multiple years now. I mean, this isn't new to us, and that's why you get excited when you see number 16 go on the field.
And top 3 in the conference. He's the only one that is in that category in the top 3 in punt returns and kick returns. And you know, it's really a good story. A guy that played at Buffalo in the MAC conference. And he's from Illinois and said, hey, I want to give the Big Ten a shot. And no guarantees, but he came here and certainly made an impact.
When I was training for Pro Day, it would have been before 18 or something, right when he came to Iowa, he had something wrong with his shoulder. I think he just had some kind of surgery. And every time we would end up leaving, we'd see Charlie in there trying to catch passes off the jugs with his one good hand. So anytime he can go out there and work on his craft, that's not just what he does on Saturday, it's what he does leading up to that. And this dates back to January. You know, it's all the work that you put in up until now, and Charlie's one of those guys that he's willing to go in and do the work.
And you know how hard punt returning is. That guy is fearless. There isn't a fair catch in his future at all.
You got to have some cojones back there.
Yeah.
He definitely takes care of business, and that's not easy to do. But that puts a lot of trust in the guys up around, you know, the guys that are defending the gunners, making sure that he's got room. But sometimes that doesn't matter to him. He's going to take it anyway.
Matt, you see so many game times now, 11 o'clock, 2:30, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, different sunsets at different stadiums. And a lot of the times when I look up, it just looks like it's just blinding on punt returns. I mean, how difficult is that?
It can be. It definitely can be. I think under the lights it helps a little bit. I mean, I love playing at night games. It kind of reminds me of Friday Night Lights, where everybody was the man in high school, and that's kind of where you kind of get that nostalgia going. But there are some times where like the sun gets there. It's just as long as you're able to block it, and obviously he does a phenomenal job.
Yeah, really does. Let's talk a little defense. As Matt mentioned earlier, Jack Kerner led the Hawkeyes in tackles. Not something you want to do at the free safety position, but is tackling in space, and his establishment really at that safety position has been impressive, and he shows up every single Saturday and working with new corners in that back unit. Here's a veteran guy that's been around the block now, and how stable is it to have a guy like that back there?
It's weird to think about that he came in Iowa State in 2019 and then just never left the field. I mean, he took advantage of his opportunity, and now we're really seeing the benefits of that. All that playing time, like you said, 11 tackles. He's not a huge guy, but he plays big. There aren't many guys that shake him in the open field, which is an underrated skill right now.
And one of those guys who just keeps coming at you, not going to back down from anything.
Absolutely. He's kind of, I don't want to call him the honey badger because that's already been taken, but he's not backing down, like you said, to anybody in the Big Ten.
Yeah, and won't back down the last 4 regular season games. Be sure about that. It's time for X's and O's. Matt, take it away.
Welcome to this week's session of X's and O's. We're going to break down Keegan Johnson's almost touchdown on the end around. There's a lot of nuance here, and so that's kind of why I want to talk about it. I think anytime you get the ball in Keegan Johnson's hand, it's a good thing, so that's another reason why we're going to talk about it. So here's the formation. We showed up, and usually you have a guy on the line on either side. But we've got 2 guys on the line here, which means he's not eligible for a pass. But because of what we do pre-snap, both these guys have to be on the line of scrimmage. You have to have 7 on the line in order for it to be a play. We actually send Charlie Jones in motion pre-snap, which you can't do if he's on the line. Which what happens is the way that Wisconsin was playing it, this corner softens up, and this safety comes down in case for a quick handoff to Charlie. So Charlie comes across, fakes the quick handoff. From here, our tackle goes here. We actually double this defensive end, and he's trying to come up to the middle linebacker because the play is going to come back that way. We'll get there. And these guys just kind of make sure that nobody flows. Our Y also comes out, but our F in this situation, which was Laporta, sneaks back across the line to help kick out this guy. The A back, Tyler Goodson, is faking. So it's almost like faking 2 handoffs. We fake Charlie Jones going across to try and get the defense to over pursue. Wisconsin's a quick defense. They're quick to recognize plays, so we try to take advantage of that. Everybody's flowing this way. We also fake a handoff here with Tyler Goodson, again, to keep their eyes on this side. Well, what the defense doesn't see is Keegan Johnson coming all the way back here with Spencer handing it off on this side. Keegan then comes around. Unfortunately, we don't get this middle linebacker here, so he's the first guy that forces. But for a freshman, Keegan's got some strength, and he's able to kind of make him, well, actually, he runs around him, and the corner that softened up, now he has to play from depth. He's coming from, 12, 13 yards back because a DB's main thing is the pass. And in this situation, it was 20-0. They know that we're going to try and get a quick score here, so they're ready for the pass. He are both, 13, 15 yards back. So now Keegan has an opportunity to run. They both then have to come up and try and make a tackle, and Keegan almost breaks it. Again, I think he's a great player, and I think he's got a bright future here at Iowa. He's able to make this, get to about the 2-yard line. But the whole thing is set up on getting everybody's eyes this way so that way we can come back. Keegan comes back around with the help of Laporte kicking out the one guy. I think he actually kicked him all the way to the sideline the way that Iowa does best. More of this I could see in the future, and that's this week's session of X's and O's.
All right, Matt, good job, and hopefully more explosive plays from Keegan Johnson at Ryan Field in Evanston this weekend. We'll talk the Cats and the Hawkeyes. Also take a look at the other games around the Big Ten Conference when we come back. Black and Gold Breakdown on MC22 is brought to you by McGrath Family of Dealerships, 5 Seasons Tire, Tom Riley Law Firm, Collins Community Credit Union, Heartland Hearing Center, and by Extreme, powered by Mediacom.
Every second, 127 new devices connect to the internet. You can feel it happening. Our digital world expanding with every breath. We're entering a whole new era of connectivity, and Mediacom will be ready to power it with one of the nation's first 10G platforms. We'll be bringing you more speed, more capacity, more security, and the power to do more than you ever dreamed possible. Today, more than ever, you need fast, reliable internet. At Mediacom, we want you to know you can count on us. Our fiber-powered 100% gigabit technology network was built for the future. We have enormous capacity and power and 99.99% network reliability. So even though these are uncertain times, we're prepared. And you can be certain we'll keep your world connected.
Thank you for virtual family dinners and long-distance birthday wishes. Thank you for sweet streaming melodies and spontaneous dance parties. Thank you for keeping classrooms together and learning alive. Thank you to our incredible network of employees who make all these beautiful connections possible.
Today, more than ever, you need fast, reliable internet. At Mediacom, we want you to know you can count on us. Our fiber-powered 100% gigabit technology network was built for the future. We have enormous capacity and power and 99.99% network reliability. So even though these are uncertain times, we're prepared. And you can be certain we'll keep your world connected.
Iowa and Northwestern from Ryan Field in Evanston, a 6 o'clock start, so it's a primetime game, and I think this will be it for primetime games. Don't anticipate Minnesota or Illinois at home being at night, and of course Nebraska already set for 12:30 on Black Friday. So there's the tail of the tape. The Hawkeyes at 6-2 overall, 3-2 in the conference, and Northwestern been a struggle this year, just one conference victory against Rutgers, but as you watch Northwestern, the talent doesn't seem to quite be there like the last several years, and Pat Fitzgerald has had this team rolling and have played in 2 of the last 3 Big Ten title games, but defensively still only giving up 18 points a game, and with the struggles of the Iowa offense, that's a little bit concerning.
I feel like Northwestern's kind of in that same boat of their offense is kind of struggling a little bit. And I feel like we just talked about this. Is this deja vu between Wisconsin and Iowa and now going up against
West Division football, right?
Good defense and
trying to find some offense.
Yeah,
right? I like that,
offense.
exploring. I like that.
It's all about phrasing. But I think that's kind of what it comes down to. I know Northwestern kind of has a special place in their heart for hatred for Iowa. For whatever reason, but I know I always enjoyed my games with Northwestern. Usually it's a hard-fought Big Ten game.
Yeah, Pat Fitzgerald will have Northwestern ready to go. Only the second game that Iowa's played on natural grass, and the weather expected to be pretty good, though cool, in Evanston. You know, this is interesting. The last 2 weeks, Matt, Northwestern has been outscored 74-21, and of course Iowa 51-14. So I think that's where leadership, focus comes into play, because we'll take a look at the standings in a few minutes, but still it's out there. You just got to pile up some wins, and then you're right back in it. And 2 or 3 wins in a row, and hopefully a lot of fans will forget the last 2 weeks.
Well, and like you said, you pile up, but it all starts with the one.
Yep.
And if you talk to
You
anybody
can't get to 2 until you get to 1.
and just like anybody at in the building would tell you, this is the most important game. You know, you can't go back and can't look at Wisconsin, you can't look at Purdue anymore. It's not advantageous to what it is you're trying to do. It's one game at a time, and right now that's Northwestern, and so I know they're blaring that Northwestern fight song and making sure that everybody hates it, and so that way they don't hear it on Saturday.
And one nice thing, there'll be a lot of Iowa fans at Ryan Field. Always make the trip over to the Chicagoland area, so it won't be the atmosphere like it is at Ohio State or at Michigan or Wisconsin.
Yeah, it's a little bit quieter at Northwestern.
You remember those days.
Yeah, I feel like we had maybe we had more Iowa fans than Northwestern had fans, which kind of adds to it. You know, it's nice wearing white but feeling like you're home.
Yeah, but as Coach Ferentz says, players win games, not the fans. Can't rely on the fans. Well, the Hawks are still in the top 20. That's the good news. Did drop, but still right there at 19. Michigan did drop to number 9. Ohio State still lurking there at number 6 after their 23rd straight Big Ten victory. And taking a look at the Big Ten standings, a shootout on the east side as well. How about Michigan State? Down 30-14 against Michigan. Come back and win that one at Spartan Stadium.
That tells you that they got a lot of fight in them. Mel Tucker's got them humming. I heard there's a lot of rumors about him leaving, but Michigan State right now is his focus, and it's showing.
Yeah, last 2 games of the season at Ohio State and Penn State for the Spartans, so that's not over yet. And there you got Ohio State. Nobody really talking about the Buckeyes. Those 7-1 and 5-0.
Penn State gave them a run for their money. I mean, I think they were. I don't think Penn State was supposed to be even near that game. By the experts.
Well, especially from the week before.
Right. Losing to Illinois and then coming back and almost beating Ohio State. So you can't ever really count them out either.
And Michigan suffers its first loss of the season. On the west side, here's a team nobody's really mentioned. They've lost 3 running backs, their top 3 running backs, but still sit at 4-1 in the conference, 6-2 overall, and the Minnesota Golden Gophers control their own destiny.
I did not think that sentence would ever come out of your mouth.
I don't think we were going to talk about that in November, were we?
But they play Wisconsin, and we have an opportunity to knock them off too. And if we can get them to 2 Big Ten losses, Minnesota beats Wisconsin, we might have a shot yet to get back to Indianapolis.
So you can still see it's crunched in there. The tough thing about Iowa is that they don't have the tiebreaker against Purdue, don't have the tiebreaker against Wisconsin. And games in the Big Ten this week. You've got Illinois at Minnesota. Gophers should be able to win that. Ohio State at Nebraska. So the Buckeyes will go after 24 in a row. Matt, great job. We'll see you next week and hopefully talk about a Hawkeye victory over the Cats.